Hi, this is Ingrid G. with Blue Dress Productions. We're happy to be talking to Dr. Lee Shugart with Manuscript Editing Services and L.R. Shugart and Associates Incorporated. Dr. Shugart, it's great to have you here.
Thank you, Ingrid. Glad to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your company, L.R. Shugart and Associates, that started a while back.
Yes, it started about 15 years ago. I felt there was a need in the scientific community and environmental sciences that had to do with genetic ecotoxicology. It's been fairly successful. I had a lot of clients worldwide, some large companies like ExxonMobil, some small companies like the city of Porto, Portugal. But the science in genetic ecotoxicology has evolved to the point where everyone is doing it now, and so I have moved my interest into other fields of environmental sciences, and one of those has to be manuscript editing services, where I feel there's a need for that type of service today.
There's a lot of students that maybe write articles or need to submit to journals, and maybe English isn't their first language.
Exactly. To be successful requires knowledge of your field. It requires the ability to think and articulate your interests. And articulating your interests may be an oral presentation, but in more instances than not, articulating has to do with writing, getting your interest and your work before the scientific community, and you do this by publishing your work.
And there's three main services that manuscript editing provides.
One of my duties in L.R. Shugart and Associates Incorporated is I am the editor-in-chief of the scientific journal. There is a need for help and assistance in preparing their manuscripts, and that's the first major hurdle that a submitted manuscript has to overcome. And that is, the journal has to make a decision initially that the paper is appropriate for scientific review. And of course the science is important, but also equally important is it written in an understandable way that the reviewers can read the paper and say, yes, this work is appropriate for this journal. So the English, the presentation of the manuscript is extremely important.
And so it's copy and structural editing,
Yes.
as well as the manuscript consultation you can do
Yes.
as well, that's more in depth.
Yes. The first hurdle is just common use of the English language. Punctuation, sentence structure. Conversationally, you try to put it now into the written word, and that's not easy to do, especially for those who are not that familiar with English. The second is how you put these words together to make sense, and that's the consultation part. Are you presenting your work in such a manner that it is understandable, there is continuity in the flow of the results, the discussion, and the conclusions?
And what makes you different than just a typical copyright editor?
We're on our field of sciences, the environmental sciences and biology. Secondly, we focus on English for the non-native speaking individual. We focus on that population of clients, customers. So we're very focused. The customer and base and the subject matter is very narrow.
And there's a lot of people out there that are graduate students that need this service that don't know who to go to.
Absolutely. And as these developing countries such as China, India, South America make their presence known in the scientific community, they want to publish their work in reputable scientific journals. To do this, it has to be in acceptable English, and so we focus on those clients.
And this is something that a lot of people may think is quite expensive, but it is very affordable to have this done.
Yes, our main work is just the common errors that are found in the use of English as written. The copy editing is not that extensive, and it is affordable.
And it is something that you've got a team of experts that are
Yes.
helping with this editing and consultations.
Exactly. Over my scientific career, I have made contact with a lot of scientists who are concerned about manuscripts that are in the scientific literature and whether or not they are in acceptable English, because it distracts from the science, it distracts from our profession.
My name is Sean Richards. I'm a professor of environmental toxicology at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and I conduct research on ecotoxicological issues. All too many times I've seen papers come in from other countries that you can see deep down there's some good science in there, but they're so poorly developed grammatically and structurally that it's really hard to ferret out the science. And so we're forced to turn those papers back to them and reject them, because that's really too much to put on a journal editor or reviewer to whip those papers into shape. And so I think this service is valuable not only to the people that don't have English as a first language, but to the field in general. I think it'll help bring a lot of science to light that otherwise would not make it into publication.
At the end of the day, what makes it worthwhile for you? Why do you do this?
I'm very passionate about the fact that being a scientist and an editor of a scientific journal, I'm trying to help these young individuals, these young students who are getting into science, to have an outlet for their work, because they want to let the rest of the world know what they're doing, and they think it's important, and therefore, if it is, it should be published.
Dr. Lee Shugart, it's been great talking with you
thank
today.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting us learn more about the wonderful service that you're doing with manuscript editing.
Thank you.
This has been Ingrid G. with Blue Dress Productions, talking to Dr. Lee Shugart of Manuscript Editing Services, a division of L.R. Shugart and Associates Incorporated, a fine business to help improve the quality of your life.